Hello everyone, this is Asra Sultana, Assistant Professor in Triple Department, working in ISL Engineering College. I am taking the subject High Voltage DC Transmission for Triple Final Year students. Today's class I am going to tell about DC circuit breakers. Previous classes we have seen about the smoothing reactor and DC line. Some aspects of equipment on the DC side is taken up, and in particular smoothing reactor and DC line we have discussed in the previous classes. Smoothing reactor is connected before the DC filter and in series with the converters. Apart from smoothing the direct current, it will also serve as a buffer between the converters and the DC line. Sizing of the reactor will depend on various requirements, including the reduction of ripple in the current. The DC line in case of a bipolar system consists of two conductors. One is operating at positive polarity with respect to the ground and the other is operating at negative polarity. Extra high voltage DC lines have bundled conductors to minimize the effects of corona. The design of a DC line is carried out with similar considerations as an AC line. However, the performance of insulators is different with direct voltage and the problems of pollution are severe compared to AC operation. But the converter control allows reduced voltage operation under heavy polluted conditions. Protection against faults in a DC line is invariably through the converter control, and this is mainly due to the non-availability of DC breakers in the early stages of introduction of HVDC systems. However, reliability of converter control has led to its continued use even when DC breakers have been developed. DC breakers may be required under special operating requirements such as transfer from ground to metallic return and multi-terminal system operation. The corona effects, over voltages, insulation and protection against faults are some of the aspects that will be discussed. Okay, some aspects of the metallic return and the operation of AC and DC lines in the same right of way will be considered. Smoothing reactors have several functions, like they will reduce the incidence of commutation failure in inverters caused by dips in the AC voltages at the converter bus, and they will prevent the consequent commutation failures in inverters by reducing rate of rise of direct current in the bridge when the direct voltage of another series connected bridge collapses. They will smooth the ripple in the direct current in order to prevent the current becoming discontinuous at light loads. They will decrease harmonic voltages and currents in the DC line and limit the crest current in the rectifier due to a short circuit on the DC line, and limits the current in the valves during the converter bypass pair operation due to the discharge of shunt capacitances of the DC line. In back-to-back HVDC systems, last three functions are not relevant. For systems with DC transmission lines, inductors of value from 0.27 Henry to 1.5 Henry have been used. And for back-to-back HVDC systems, value ranges from 12 millihenry to 200 millihenry. Sizing of the reactor is done not only from the considerations mentioned above, but also from the point of view of minimizing the effect of low-order harmonic resonances in the AC or DC system. It is necessary to avoid series resonance of the DC system at fundamental frequency and also at the second harmonic. Effect of inductor value on the resonance frequency as a function of DC filter capacitance we have seen. Okay, we have seen about the location of smoothing reactor, equivalent circuit for calculating ripple. Then we have seen about DC line. Under that we have seen corona effects, corona loss. Corona is defined as luminous discharge due to ionization of air surrounding a conductor caused by a voltage gradient exceeding a certain value. Ionization will take place in a zone which is a very thin circumferential layer surrounding the conductor surface. Within this zone, high field strength causes high velocity particles to collide with the air molecules. Electrons will be removed from the atoms of the air molecules and are accelerated towards the positive conductor or away from the negative conductor. These high velocity electrons will collide with other air molecules, releasing additional electrons in an avalanche process. Ions carrying the same charge as the adjacent conductor are repelled from the ionization zone at initial velocities of about 1.4 cm. for positive ions and 1.6 centimeter per second for negative ions for every volt per centimeter of the field strength. So the effects of corona will be corona loss, radio and television interference, audible noise, space charge field. So all these terms in detail we have seen in the previous class. Then we have seen about DC line insulators, transient over voltages in DC lines, protection of DC line, and protection against DC line faults with VSC. So let us start today's class, that is DC breakers. Development of high voltage DC circuit breakers has been underway for some time in late 80s, and a 500 kilovolt breaker with current interrupting capability up to 4000 amps has been reported. Although several types of DC breakers have been developed by different manufacturers, the basic concepts are same in all the cases, and these can be reviewed as below. Let us see the basic concepts of DC circuit interruption. The major problem in the current interruption in the DC circuits is that there is no natural current zero as in the case of AC circuits. Current can be brought to zero only by applying a counter voltage which is higher than the system voltage. Second problem is the dissipation of large energy stored in the inductance of the circuit. So this is a simple representation of a DC circuit with breaker. Okay. So we are having a voltage source VD, and inductor and current flowing through is ID, and VB is the voltage in the circuit breaker. Consider the simple representation of DC circuit breaker shown in the figure. Breaker has a counter voltage VB. It is shown that the energy absorbed by the breaker is given as WB is equal to half L ID square into VB by VB minus VD. And the time required to bring the current to zero is given as TI is equal to LID by VB minus VD, where ID is the current in the breaker prior to interruption. It is obvious that reduction of ID has a significant effect on the breaker cost as WB is decreased, which will result in a reduced requirement of the energy capability of a circuit breaker. Current ID is brought down to the rated value by the normal action of current control in converters. Although this requires certain amount of time, it can be say 30 to 50 milliseconds, the time required for interruption will reduce. The alternate strategy is to interrupt the fault current first, but this will increase the interruption time Ti apart from increasing the cost of the breaker. The counter voltage produced by the arc that is struck when the breaker contacts separate is not sufficient in HVDC breakers. This requires an auxiliary circuit in which a capacitor is inserted to develop the required counter voltage. However, a capacitor is unable to dissipate the energy and the current in the capacitor has to be commutated to nonlinear resistors which then dissipate the energy without undue increase in the voltage across them. This is the arrangement of a DC breaker where we can see energy absorbing circuit, commutating circuit and circuit breaker. Okay, this is a circuit breaker, this is a commutating circuit and this is energy absorbing circuit. The general arrangement of a HVDC circuit breaker is shown in the figure. Current in the breaker when closed is normally carried through circuit breaker with moving metallic contacts. This may be column, oil, air blast or SF6 device. So after a trip signal is given to the breaker, breaker contacts open to draw an arc and this is initiated at time t1. This is the current and voltage waveforms. So this will be initiated at time t1. At a short time later at T2, the commutation circuit is inserted to the insertion device SC. Commutating impedance is primarily made up of a series LC circuit which is tuned to a certain frequency. Capacitor may or may not be pre-charged. The insertion devices SC may be a triggered vacuum gap or spark gap or in the so-called passive commutation circuit, just a solid connection. The main purpose of inserting a commutating impedance is to create current zero in circuit breaker and transfer the current to ZC with sufficient contact separation in circuit breaker to regain its dielectric strength. This current transfer is completed by time T3. The DC circuit current ID flowing through the capacitor in ZC rapidly builds up to a high voltage VB across the breaker. When the voltage reaches VB at time T4, the energy absorber RD is inserted through the device SD. The nonlinearity of the resistance RD acts as a switch which closes when its clipping voltage is reached. The direct current now will decay to zero by discharging its energy to RD after the interval of Ti. The breaker operation is completed by T5 if the three parallel paths of circuit breaker ZC and RD have inadequate voltage withstand capability. Otherwise, fast acting isolators that will operate at zero current level may be used to prevent overstressing of the breaker until the converter control restores the voltage to a level that can be withstood by the breaker under steady state conditions. In the passive commutation method, series LC circuit is connected across circuit breaker. The interrupter element CB is an air blast or SF6 breaker similar to that which is used in AC circuits. Field tests have shown that air blast breaker is superior in performance compared to SF6. Computation of the current to ZC in the passive commutation method is initiated by the arc itself. Differential equation for the current I2 is given as L into d square I2 by dt square plus V into V arc by di1 into di2 by dt plus 1 by C I2 is equal to 0. This is a commutation circuit where we can see inductor and capacitor connected in series and a V arc is the voltage in the circuit breaker. If the arc voltage decreases with the current, its differential resistance, that is dV arc by di1, is negative. This will cause the buildup of increasing current as oscillations in the circuit and the arc current goes to zero when the amplitude of the oscillations reach the value of direct current ID. While this is a simple explanation of the phenomena, process of commutation is affected by the geometry of the breaker nozzle and the interruption chamber, the natural frequency and the state resistance of the circuit. And the increase in the oscillation magnitude may also occur in steps. This is a diagram showing current oscillations in the commutating circuit. Let us now see the characteristics and types of DC breakers. The breaker is characterized by four variables of interest in its application to the system. These are: first one is voltage capability, second is current capability, third is energy capability, fourth is switching time. The voltage capability is related to two parameters. First one, the voltage during the interruption process, and second one, steady state operating voltage and transients in the system. The breaker voltage requirements can be kept low by coordination with converter control and fast isolators. But this is not desirable. In general, the highest permissible voltage gives the best performance in terms of lower energy absorption and shorter switching time. The interrupting capability of a breaker does not have to be much above the rated current in the circuit because the converter control can be relied on to bring the fault current down to the rated levels. The required energy capability of a breaker depends upon many factors such as inductance, converter voltage and current, breaker voltage and the duty cycle. In HVDC breakers, series connected modules are used to give the required voltage and energy capabilities. The switching time of a breaker includes the following components: time required to generate the trip signal, time required to separate the contacts in the main breaker, time required to commutate the current to ZC, time required to commutate current from ZC to RD, the interruption time Ti, and time required to bring the DC system back to steady state post fault condition. While the first components can be kept small, there is no real advantage in generating the trip signal much faster than the time taken to reduce the fault current using converter control, which can be around 30 to 50 milliseconds. The second component is around 10 milliseconds. The third and fourth components can be reduced by using charged capacitor in the commutation circuit. Again, there is no real advantage in keeping the total time below 10 milliseconds as there is a problem of restriking of the arc in the main breaker. The interruption time is related to VB and ID. Voltage is normally around 1.7 per unit. The reduction in ID reduces TI in a linear fashion. The last component depends on the voltage capability of the breaker. With low voltage capability, this component of the switching time could be of the order 100 millisecond due to the time required for the operation of the isolator, the converter control and the computation delay that is required for coordination of the breaker operation and converter controls. Above analysis shows that there is significant saving in switching time possible by increased voltage capability, while the current capability may be limited to the rated current. The requirements on the switching time depend on the AC system requirements for maintaining DC power flow in transient conditions, taking into account the considerations of system stability. Let us see the applications of DC breakers. The application of DC breakers is required mainly for fault clearing in empty DC systems. However, even for two-terminal DC system, the DC circuit breakers can be useful in the following situations. First one is when the converters feed two parallel DC lines. Second one, when parallel connected converters feed the same line. Third one, when current needs to be transferred from the ground return to the metallic return during the monopolar operation. The breakers for this application are termed as metallic return transfer breakers (MRTB). Although voltage capability required for this application is moderate, the energy capability required may be substantial. Let us see monopolar operation. If there is a permanent fault in one of the poles, either in the DC line or converters, the other pole can still continue to function until the fault is rectified. This is in contrast to the AC systems where unbalanced operation is not feasible for more than a second. Monopolar operation of a bipolar DC system involves current return through ground or metallic return. So here we have to note a point that even if the insulation is damaged in a pole conductor, it can still be used as a return path as steady state voltage stress is small. With metallic return, only one terminal is grounded and the other terminal is ungrounded. There are advantages and drawbacks associated with each type of return. With ground return, the losses are less. However, there is a danger of corrosion of buried pipelines. The ground current may also interfere with DC type railroad signals and may cause saturation in transformers that are located in the vicinity. Although these problems can be overcome, solution may be complicated and restrictions are usually placed on extended operation with ground return. While the metallic return does not have the problems associated with the ground return, it has the following drawbacks. First one is increased losses due to voltage drop in the metallic return. Second is increased voltage drop requires larger tap range in converter transformers. Alternative to this is the operation of converters at large angles, which results in higher valve stresses and additional losses in valve grading or damping circuits. Both options are costly, and third alternative is to derate the TC link during the metallic return operation. Third one is reduced reliability due to the fact that two conductors are exposed as compared to one conductor with ground return. Fourth one is increased requirements for the protection of the ungrounded neutral. Ground electrodes. The ground return is economical not only due to the elimination of a return conductor but also due to reduced power losses, particularly in long lines. As most of HVDC projects are staged with the first stage being monopolar, the use of ground return is attractive. Even when bipolar operation is introduced in the following stage, use of ground return will improve reliability, availability of the HVDC link. The ground electrodes are used at both ends of the link to transfer current from the converter to the ground. The ground electrodes need to be located at a distance 8 to 80 kilometers from the converter station to prevent DC current leaking into the ground that of the converter station. Injection of DC currents to the transformer windings when the neutral is grounded results in the saturation of the magnetic core in one direction that can lead to the generation of even harmonics in the magnetizing currents. The problem is more severe in case of single phase transformers compared to the case with three phase transformers with three limbs, as the flux due to the DC current is forced to flow through the high reluctance path from top yoke to the bottom yoke. The first indication of core saturation is the noticeable increase in audible noise when the DC current per phase is more than 1.2 times the AC exciting current. So if you have to note a point that exciting current in modern transformers may be as low as 1% of the rated current. There are three types of electrodes, namely land electrodes, which are located far away from the sea. Secondly, shore electrodes, located on a shore against saline sea water. Shore electrodes can be located either on the beach at a short distance from the water line or in water protected by a breakwater. Third one is sea electrodes, located in the water at some distance, so it can be greater than 100 meters from the coastline. Ground return can cause electrolytic corrosion of buried or immersed metallic structures. Also, ground currents can interfere with operation of other services such as AC power transmission, railway signaling, and ship compasses. There are also safety issues which requires the step and touch voltages to be kept within tolerable limits. The distribution of ground currents in the vicinity of an electrode is determined by the electric fields which are affected by the location and configuration of the electrodes and geology of the subsoil. However, at a distance x from the electrode stations, voltage is proportional to the resistivity and inversely proportional to x. And voltage gradient is inversely proportional to x square. The design of three categories of electrodes, that is ring, straight and six pointed star or branch star, we can study. Design of ground electrodes are based on the requirements of low resistance, adequate current carrying capacity, low maintenance cost, accessibility, avoiding damage to other facilities and safety. Now let us see the effects of proximity of AC and DC transmission lines. For reasons of economy and constraints on the right of way, it is possible that AC and DC lines may be situated in the same right of way. Also, it is possible to have them on the same tower when one circuit of an AC line is converted to a DC line. Some studies have been reported on the effects of proximity of AC and DC lines. Nakra et al. Reported from a simulator study that contact faults between a DC pole and a AC phase result in the superposition of the AC voltage and currents on the DC line and DC voltages and currents on the AC line. This can result in the transformer saturation in some cases and over voltages on other cases up to 2 per unit. Otherwise, they did not find appreciable effects of electromagnetic coupling between AC and DC line under steady state. In contrast, Larson et al. Report the possibility of steady-state induction of fundamental frequency voltages in DC lines due to proximity, which can cause saturation of converter transformers. To avoid problems associated with the transformer saturation, they recommend that the fundamental frequency current in the DC line can be restricted to 0.1% of the rated DC current. To limit the induction of AC voltages in DC lines, they suggest the use of DC filters, control modulation and transposition of AC and DC lines. Chopra et al. Have observed the possibility of large zero sequence transients in AC lines caused by transients in a neighboring ground return DC lines. Study was carried out to explain the tripping of AC lines in a common corridor due to the operation of ground current relays. This event happened at Nelson River HVDC link when the transition of metallic return to ground return took place. Interestingly, the AC line was at a distance of over 180 meters from the DC lines. From an analytic study, the authors observed that phenomena is due to magnetic coupling between two circuits and it is affected by the ground resistivity. The zero sequence currents induced on AC lines are of low frequencies, which can be 1 to 30 Hz, and occur during transients. No induction is present in steady state. Effect of interactions of electric field and ion flow in hybrid AC-DC lines have been reported. And according to a study by Maruvada and Rogi, the presence of alternating field component has negligible effect on the trajectories of ions emitted by DC conductors. For lines on the same tower, ionized fields resulting from DC conductors in corona can cause direct current induction in AC lines. Maximum current induced can be around zero point 0.4 milliamps per kilometer length of the line. With AC circuit below the DC circuit, there is a significant screening effect on the electric field, current and charge distribution at the ground level. However, maximum field at the conductor surface is increased substantially, resulting in higher RI and AN. DC conductors in adjacent towers can shield the AC electric field and vice versa. They use the concept of sensation level to characterize field interactions and state that below a critical separation level. The effects of proximity of AC and DC lines should be considered. The critical separation for a 400 kV DC line and a 230 kV AC line is less than 40 feet, while for a 800 kV line it is 110 feet. Thank you everyone for watching the video. Next class, I'll be telling about the filters, harmonic filters, and we will be done with the fourth unit. Then we will start the fifth unit. Thank you everyone for watching the video. So all the students, please watch the video from start till the end and subscribe the YouTube channel of all the faculty members. All the students should mention their hall ticket number in the comment section. So in the next class, I'll be telling about the harmonics and filters. So HVDC converters will introduce both AC and DC harmonics, which will be injected into the AC system and DC line respectively, and there will be several problems which can be associated with the injection of harmonics, like telephone interference, extra power losses and consequent heating in machines, over voltages due to resonances, instability of converter controls, interferences with the ripple control systems used in load management. AC filters is used to filter out AC current harmonics which are critical, and these filters are of band pass or high pass type, and also they will supply reactive power. DC smoothing reactor used in converter stations will be passive filters using inductors and capacitors. Active filters based on VSC has been introduced since 1993 in conjunction with passive filters. At present, there are 14 active filters on the DC side and 1 active filter on the AC side. And in addition to the harmonics which will cause the telephonic interference, harmonics at the carrier and radio frequencies are also generated by the converters and may require suitable filters. Harmonic generation and the various types of filters we are going to study in the next class. Criteria and some of the design aspects are presented. So when we see the characteristic harmonics are the harmonics which are always present even under ideal operation, that is balanced AC voltages, symmetric three-phase network and equidistant pulses. In the converter analysis given, the DC current is assumed to be constant. In this case, there are harmonics in AC current which can be of the order of NP plus or minus 1. P is the pulse number and N is any integer. Harmonics in the converter DC voltage can be of the order of NP. When the smoothing reactor is of finite impedance, there are harmonics in the DC current also of the order, and the AC current harmonics are still of the order uh, of NP plus or minus 1, although their magnitudes will be different with the presence of the ripple in DC current. Okay, next we will see in detail in the next class calculation of characteristic AC harmonics, DC voltage harmonics, non-characteristic harmonics, effect of firing angle errors, effect of unbalanced voltages, design of AC filters. So under that we will see criteria of design, harmonic distortion, telephone influence factor, telephone harmonic form factor, IT product, types of filters, passive AC filters, design of tuned filter, design of high pass filter, double and triple tuned filters, analysis of double tuned filter, analysis of triple tuned filter, and design of combined AC filters, protection of filters, criteria of design, definition of equivalent disturbing current, passive DC filters, active filters, carrier frequency and RI noise. Okay, so all these things we will be covering in the next class. Thank you everyone for watching the video.